What's up YouTube, it's your boy JP's on the keys in these two Easter video today. And we are back with Alexander the Great. And he's steady chasing around Darius, who's been running and running and running. What a poor excuse for a king if you just keep running and running and running. You're supposed to defend your country to the death. Defend your kingdom to the death. But you're running. I don't respect it.
At the age of just 22, Alexander, ruler of the small Greek kingdom of Macedonia, had led an invasion of the vast Persian Empire. After a string of victories, he smashed Persian military power at the Battle of Gaugamela and took the Persian throne for himself. Now, in 330 BC, Alexander continued his march east. His goal, to find and kill Bessus, a Persian usurper claiming to be the rightful king, and to subjugate the empire's eastern provinces.
He said, "Oh, you think you king? Let me find you and kill you. How about that?" Wow, my man.
Alexander headed first for Aria, today part of Afghanistan, where the Persian governor Satibarzanes had launched a revolt after initially pretending to submit to Alexander. The rebellion was crushed and Satibarzanes killed in single combat by a Greek cavalry officer. Nearby, Alexander founded the city of Alexandria Ariana, modern Herat, one of around a dozen cities that Alexander would eventually found, almost all bearing his name.
Oh my goodness, yo, this man really just came through. Oh, are you a king? You're some type of very high-ranking king. Oh, I'm just gonna come and kill you. Like, wow, like this, the amount of just savagery. He would just come in, just kill you, king, and just go on about his business. Like, but the fact that he's got all this land, that's what amazes me. He's got all of this land. Like, that's thousands of miles of influence.
Alexander marched on to Frada. The Macedonian court had a long tradition of plots and assassination. 6 years before, Alexander's own father, King Philip, had been murdered by his bodyguard. He was now informed that Philotas, commander of his companion cavalry, had uncovered a plot to assassinate Alexander, but kept it secret. Philotas and his father Parmenion were among the most respected of Alexander's commanders and had played crucial roles in all his great victories. But when Philotas confessed, under torture, Alexander had him executed, then sent assassins back to Ecbatana, where Parmenion was governor, to kill him before he even heard of his son's death, and had a chance to turn against Alexander.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Like, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm like, just wow. This man, oh, there's a plot. I'm gonna kill you and then send people to kill your father before the father didn't even know nothing about this. Holy crap. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, you got to rule with an iron fist if you took over half the world. I mean, I would be nervous too, because it's always going to be that one, the person closest to you. It's always going to be that one. You know what I mean? You can't trust nobody, even back in these days.
In 329, Alexander resumed his pursuit of Bessus. En route, he founded the city of Alexandria Arachosia, modern Kandahar in southern Afghanistan. As he reached Kunduz, Bessus was betrayed by his own men and handed over in chains. Alexander sent him back to Persia for execution as a kingslayer. Alexander pushed on into modern Tajikistan, where the Sogdians rose up against him. He had to fight off attacks by local tribes and take several towns by assault. On the banks of the Jaxartes River, he founded the city of Alexandria Escate, meaning Alexandria the furthest, so named because he had, at last, reached the limit of the Persian Empire. This frontier was frequently raided by nomads, known to the Greeks as Scythians. Alexander lured them into a decisive battle near the Jaxartes. The result was a crushing victory for the Macedonian king that put an end to the raids.
He nipped that in the bud.
But fighting against Bactrian and Sogdian tribes continued, frustrating Alexander and tying him down in a difficult guerrilla war.
I like how the story's picked up though. It's definitely picked up. It's not just Alex saw this town and dominated this town. He dominated this city. He dominated this. I like how it's picking up. Stories of revolt, stories of betrayal within the ranks, stories of dealing with nomads and thieves. I like how it's more substance, more juice. You know what I'm saying? I need the juice.
By now, many of the Macedonian troops were unhappy with Alexander. Most had not seen their homes in years, but their king seemed bent on conquest without end. What was worse, he'd begun to adopt the rituals and dress of their defeated Persian enemy, customs they viewed as effeminate and decadent. At Marakanda, modern Samarkand, after a furious, drunken argument, Alexander killed Clytus the Black. Clytus had been one of Alexander's best generals, and the man who'd saved his life at the Battle of the Granicus. Alexander was full of remorse, but his growing arrogance was alienating more and more old comrades. When he tried to make his countrymen perform the traditional Persian ritual of proskinesis, prostrating themselves before the king, he crossed a line.
You're doing too much now. You're doing too much now. This is we're here as military. We're not here to bow to you, sir. We're not gonna bow. Like, nah, bro. I'm saying he crossed a little bit of lines. Now you gonna dress as the people you killed. It make it seem like you kind of admired what they had on or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
To Greeks, this was blasphemy. Only a god was worthy of such respect, and Alexander was forced to back down.
Hold your horses
In Bactria, another plot to assassinate Alexander was uncovered. This time the ringleader was a royal page, one of the sons of Macedonian nobility who attended the king. Hermolaus had become murderously bitter towards Alexander over a perceived injustice. He and his accomplices were tortured and then stoned to death. Callisthenes, Alexander's official historian, was also implicated in the conspiracy. He was thrown in prison, where he later died. That summer, in 327, according to legend, Alexander became captivated by the beauty of Roxana, daughter of a Bactrian lord. Their marriage was also a sound political move, helping to end local revolt against his rule, and allowing him to continue his advance. into modern Pakistan and India.
So this man went from Macedonia, Greece, all the way to India. Yo, that's wow, bro. Yo, this man took so much land.
Alexander now prepared to subdue the Persian Empire's most eastern provinces, which had yet to recognize his kingship. To do so, he would first have to cross the Hindu Kush mountains and reach the Indus River valley. Advancing in two columns, his army won a series of skirmishes against the Aspasi and Asakani as they fought their way into what's now the Swat Valley of northern Pakistan. After a fierce siege, Alexander took the Asakanian capital of Masaga. According to legend, it was ruled by a beautiful queen, Cleophas, who bore Alexander a son and was allowed to keep her throne.
Wait, isn't he married to Roxana? Oh, I mean, oh yeah, from this is the polygamy was not, you know. I mean, I wouldn't really say a wife. He was just like, I guess like basically like a child out of wedlock. Like this man Alex is I think he's starting to lose focus. You know what I'm saying? He's starting to lose focus on his real mission. Like, of course, his army is going to take over everything because of the sheer dominance of his army. But I think him himself, he's starting to lose focus. Like, he's starting to get caught up in everything. You know what I'm saying? I think he's let all this go to his head. And then first you're wearing the clothes of the people you took over. Then you want people to bow before you. Now you're marrying the people as sort of a political move. Now you're just going along just having babies everywhere. Like, you're not focusing, bro. You're not.
The ruler of Taxila, near modern Islamabad, had formed an alliance with Alexander. Together, they marched to face Porus, king of Paravas, at the Battle of the Hydaspes. It was Alexander's costliest battle, as Porus's war elephants inflicted terrible casualties amongst the Greeks.
War elephants, bro. Just think about that again. War elephants. You chilling. You got your little spear and your shield, and a 7-ton beast comes charging at you running 20, 30 miles an hour. You got a 7-ton beast just charging. Like, just think about that. Like, what would you do in that situation?
But despite Porus's fearless leadership, the battle ended in a decisive victory for Alexander, winning him control of the Punjab. Alexander wanted to push on into India to reach the great river, which ancient Greek geographers said formed the edge of the world. But at the river Hyphasis, known today as the Bias, his army mutinied. His men had marched thousands of miles, fought countless battles, and not seen their homes in 8 years. They'd heard rumors of gigantic armies waiting for them in India. They refused to go any further.
Oh, finally! Look at this! Look at this entertaining. Oh, I'm right. I'm hyped. This is good, man. This is great. This is a great series. Whoever recommended this, bro, you're a GOAT. You're a GOAT.
Alexander was furious, but had to turn the army around. He followed the rivers of the Punjab to the sea, a journey that took 10 months. On the way, he defeated the Malians, but while leading the assault on their capital, was wounded in the chest and nearly killed. On reaching the coast, part of the army under Nearchus boarded ships and returned to Persia by sea, sailing through the Straits of Hormuz and entering the Persian Gulf. It was one of the great ancient voyages of exploration, as these waters had been previously unknown to Greeks. Meanwhile, Alexander led the rest of the army back by land through the Gedrosian Desert, today in southern Pakistan. But extreme heat and shortages of food and water led to terrible suffering and many deaths among his army. On his return to Persia, Alexander executed several of his viceroys and governors, men accused of ruling unjustly and robbing temples and tombs during his long absence in the East.
They was looting the temples. Oh, by all means, it's justified then. Like, geez, wow, okay, y'all just dirty. Y'all just going behind his back and everything. Y'all moving real foul. I don't like that.
At Susa, he arranged a magnificent mass marriage of Macedonian officers to 80 Persian noblewomen to strengthen bonds between his two kingdoms. Alexander himself married 2 Persian princesses. He also paid all his soldiers' debts and ordered 30,000 youths from across the empire to be trained in the Macedonian art of war.
Whoa. First of all, this man did a whole lot. First of all, now you arranging marriages now. So you're taking other cultures, you're arranging marriages. And then you took on 2 more wives, so that's 3. That's 3. Okay. And then you're training up more young men oh my God, this is all that they know is war. Like, let these men grow up to be something like maybe cartographers, map makers, carpenters, blacksmiths. I don't know. Like, what else was there to do back then as some type of trade? Like, let them learn a trade. But there was a certain amount of nobility that came with being a soldier. Like, oh, if you were a soldier, you were a brave warrior who fought to the death, and you know what I'm saying, you were revered in your kingdom. So I definitely understand why they would do it, though, to capture that glory. It was a certain amount of glory that came with being a soldier, especially for Alexander.
But at Opis, his Macedonian troops mutinied. They were offended by Alexander's apparent preference for Persian advisors and Persian ways. Alexander had the ringleaders executed and made a speech to the men reminding them of the glories they'd won together and leading eventually to an emotional reconciliation.
So you gonna kill him, then you gonna make peace with him. Wow. That's crazy. I mean, obviously you're going to kill the ones that we're talking about. Bro, obviously he's going to have an obsession with the Persian way. His goal was to take over the Persian Empire. So you should have known that. If his goal was, if now he has the whole Persian Empire under his goal, he's accomplished his lifelong dream. Now he's gonna soak in it. Duh.
At Ecbatana, Alexander's closest and most trusted friend, Hephaestion, died of fever. The king was grief-stricken, went days without eating, and ordered a period of public mourning across the empire. Alexander waged a successful campaign against the mountain raiders of Kossia, who not even the Persian kings had been able to subdue. Returning to Babylon, he was met by embassies from distant peoples, come to recognize his greatness. Ethiopians, Libyans, European Scythians, Lucanians, Etruscans, Gauls, and Iberians. Alexander's Bactrian wife, Roxana, was now pregnant. But as he planned his next campaign to Arabia and beyond, he developed a sudden fever and died days later, aged just 32.
Oh my God. That's ridiculous. Wow, that's crazy. That was a sudden. That was a gut punch right there. Like, well, okay, he just died. Of course, you know the health back then was terrible, and like people were dying from common cold and fever because like the medical things were trash. Like the medical methods were terrible, and like people's like lifespan was, if you lived to be 40, you're an ancient artifact. If you lived to be 40, you're an old man. Like 40 was an old man. So I'm not surprised given the time period, but just the fact that he died. You know what I mean? I would have thought he would have died in battle or something, not just from a fever. You know what I mean? He's a brilliant warlord, and you die from a fever.
The cause of Alexander's death has never been established. It may have been malaria, cholera, typhus, or poison. Alexander died undefeated in battle. His reputation as a brilliant, fearless, and daring military commander remains undimmed. His decade-long campaign created one of the largest empires ever known, stretching from Greece to Pakistan. But it was vast and unstable, held together only by his own brilliance and name. Alexander left no plans for his succession, and his generals soon began fighting among themselves to carve out their own empires. In the Wars of the Successors, Alexander's widow Roxana and his young son were murdered. His own gold sarcophagus, en route to Macedonia for burial, was hijacked and ended up in Alexandria in Egypt. Today, its location remains one of the world's great unsolved mysteries. Few men have ever had such an impact on the course of history as Alexander the Great. The breathtaking achievements of his short life ushered in the Hellenistic Age, as Greek ideas spread across the territory of his former empire, fusing with local traditions to trigger new developments in art, science, government, and language. Some of the successor kingdoms to his great empire were short-lived. Others endured for centuries. But all, in turn, would fall to new forces. And in the West, to the rising power of Rome.
I definitely want to get into the Roman Empire as well. Like these ancient old empires definitely are very intriguing. But this there's still two parts to this, I'm assuming. So I'm trying to figure out what the other two parts are about.
Research and art.
All right, but yeah, definitely R.I.P. Alexander the Great. Like just the whole tale of his reign, like just everything that he did, just showed how much of a dominant war leader that he was. Like just being able to just come into a town and just seize it with barely any type of resistance. It just shows you the pure military power of this dude. I'll definitely have to see what the other two episodes are about. But anyways, thank you again for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. Don't forget to share video wherever you share videos at. Also, don't forget to turn on my post notifications that you don't miss upload. Thank you again. Please be safe. Have a great day. Stay on the grind. I'm out. Peace.